Many people don't do that, and what we don't wanna do is, intimidate people not to do the right thing.
Well, I think she's doing the right thing by asking. The problem is, they didn't do the right thing before when they built into the roadway. And they didn't have a permit to do that.
Yeah,
Very
but
good
she
point.
didn't buy the house, or she bought the house, she just
Yeah,
recently.
it was
She bought the house in the first
But
place,
she didn't.
not knowing that it was encroached in the roadway.
And again, she wasn't, and I'm not defending this action, because I'm sorry, if you're gonna buy a piece of property, get it surveyed, but
Yeah.
if you.
This is the property line up here.
Buyer beware.
Move the road out to here.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah.
Very small. That's the property line for across the street. And if you move this line up to here,
Because look at, this is, and this is Elko, or Elko Road. That's Elko Street, that can't be a property line. What is shown here is not accurate.
and I'm not looking at it unless I can take them. Dump this on the commissioner.
Now, let's say we do approve that, 10 feet, but we would like to suggest that the best thing to do that would be to do it all the way down the road. How would we go about that? It's not really our job to make
No, it's not.
suggestions.
I don't think that's our job to do that.
No, I disagree, I think that is our job. We pay
You-
attention to
the
this way
county-
more than any county commissioner would right now. And I mean that with the utmost respect, but they've got a lot on their plate. This is our perspective. If we wanted to suggest that to the county commissioners, so that they could look at that is totally in our pathway. We should do that, and that is a responsibility that we should carry on.
And Brad
Absolutely.
would give his input,
Sure.
obviously.
Yeah, and the logistics, they can figure out, that's their deal. I think we just need to come up with the proposal so that we make sure that, people understand that we're looking at this from a different perspective, and we wanna make sure that our views are looked at.
And Andy, that can be written into the suggestion when it comes over to the commission.
Okay.
I
That
would-
You can, you guys can detail that out, what your thoughts are. You can say that there wasn't a representative to explain why, to explain what you're doing
Okay,
and why you're doing it.
okay. So I think that's what, you guys in agreement with that?
I am. Also, I would just put a caveat in there, just to be mindful of the width of the road and have Brad just give his input on that, if that would be sufficient.
We can word that in
In a motion.
a, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and
So,
I move that we, and I guess we'd say table, or we pass, or I move that we suggest this not be considered. We do not have a consideration for this due to lack of presence of somebody here to support.
representation.
Representation. We have concerns about the width of Saval Avenue. We have concerns about, after the abandonment, what the Saval Avenue would look like down the road from Elko to Carson Street. And if the Regional Planning Commission is to act on this at a future date, we would definitely want to have additional information on width and the possibility of extending this abandonment from Elko over to Carson Street. Does that work?
Well said. Yeah. Did you get all that, Jennifer?
Do we need to have the recommendation in there for it to go forward to the county commission?
And we recommend that it goes forward to the county commission without any advice from Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, it's going to the county commissioners due to lack of representation from Baker.
Yep,
Okay.
I like that.
I like that.
Wait a second.
Okay, on that motion, We have a motion from Andy and a second from Brad. All those in sending this forward to the county commissioners for them to look at because of lack of representation from Baker. All those in favor say aye.
I have, before you go any further, one question. Shane, this is Lori Carson again.
Yes.
In the motion, where it's an approval for recommendation, do they just actually have to vote that down? Or can they change it, just a recommendation to bring it before the commission without
On
a
the agenda
recommendation?
for a recommendation to the White Pine County Commission, so it's approval of recommendation, so they can make their recommendation to the White Pine County Commission.
But that's, I don't think
Whatever
that's, okay, so, state that again, what you wanted to go to the board. I'm sorry.
Past the
Because-
30 days.
Like what your recommendation to the board should be.
So, so my,
Because otherwise, I think that this isn't this is a vote to approve it.
So you vote no, that's.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that, thank you,
recommendation.
Carol.
So we would vote no with the
This can still go to the,
consideration they were expressed.
okay, so essentially what you're saying is all we have to do is say, we vote no, because it's gonna be passed on over to the county commissioners.
Then they could
then
appeal
they
it
can
to
bring
the
it to
county
the,
commission.
yes,
if they so
because
chose.
basically you are just voting on the recommendation to approve it.
Okay,
Approval
So,
of the
yeah,
recommendation.
so we,
Is
so,
that, that's how I read it.
so with everything I said before, because I still think that that's important to put in, I think we just say we vote against this approval. We vote no.
Basically, you do a motion to approve and then defeat the motion with
Now-
a no vote.
Not to confuse things, but just for future reference, what about the no vote? Is that an option, just to not?
It has, you vote, you do the motion as written, or whatever you're doing, you do it as to approve it, and then you vote no, which does not approve it, it
Okay,
stops.
Or it can, or
And
it
then it
can,
would move forward to the county commission by those, if those people so chose to do that, by them appealing it.
So in other words, if
there's
they're-
two ways. The way that Carol said it, and then there's also a way that it dies for a lack of a motion.
Yeah.
okay,
So nobody makes a motion.
okay.
Yeah.
So it has to be a
Nobody-
yes or a no to approve for a
Right.
recommendation from the county.
It just becomes a moot point
But, yeah,
for this board if it fails for a lack of a motion.
So if we just don't move anything, if we don't make a motion, then it's done, and it just moves over to.
It just motion, yes, it fails for lack of a motion. So the chair would
But how
call
do
for
we
a
get our
motion.
concerns over to the county commission? You know what I'm saying? If we
Well,
don't.
if
we
it
make
comes,
any
if it comes to the county commission,
Mhm.
if these people bring it to the county commission, okay, because they haven't made sure that if and it's not necessarily always up to the engineer, the civil engineer or whoever to show up for these. But certainly the homeowner, I would imagine, I know if I was a homeowner, if you were a homeowner, I would.
County commission knows that if it does go to that, the reason why we did not have a motion on it was because we had these concerns. Was so that it, you know, because again, I don't want to pass the buck off to you guys over something that we've spent, I've
Right.
spent quite a bit of time on.
Then you, like Carol said, you would make your motion to approve the recommendation to the county. And somebody makes it, and then what happens is either it doesn't get second, or you vote, or somebody does second it, and then you all vote no.
or even part of it.
Or just, yeah,
Just,
you
just
could,
so
And
the
we vote
majority
no,
is
it goes to
no,
the county commission.
then it would go to,
Okay. I move,
So
he
there's-
seconded, we all voted against it.
That's
Does that work?
okay, so
Yeah.
then there's nays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just, you said it perfectly, just making sure to get those points in there when it does go to their table, you know.
Okay.
I think we need an actual vote on this because,
Yeah,
So
let's-
how is that again?
We
You
need
moved
to vote.
to,
So,
yeah, I need to know who the names are.
you have a motion
Make-
and a second, we need a vote.
So we have a
But
motion,
if
we
you
have a
have-
second.
Right, if you make a motion, there's a couple of ways, just for future reference. Somebody can make a motion, and then it can die for lack of a second. Or, like I said before, it dies because nobody makes a motion. Or if it's second, then you can vote no, but which is kind of weird, because if it's a motion and then it's second, normally people vote.
That's not always the case, a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I've seen a lot
saying.
of it where you have the motion and somebody seconds it, they really like it, but the rest of the
It is
crowd
very
doesn't, so
complicated.
you vote no.
but basically, someone makes the motion, somebody seconds it, and then we nay it, and that will get it to the county.
Maybe you should check with your attorney to see.
Yeah,
Or no motion is made due to the fact we do not have representation from Baker as far as exactly what's going on.
Shane, just to double verify, is that right? If somebody moves to approve something and then we do have a second, and then we all nay it, would that be the process to get that, over to the county?
The homeowner appeals.
Well, all would vote against except the two that made the motion, right?
Yeah, that would only
Not
make sense.
necessarily, but yeah.
perfect.
So,
Let's do that.
so that's if you're asking me, your attorney, what you should do, I indicated earlier that you could continue it. And so I was researching and did find the statute that indicates that we can give 2 continuances for good cause. And so this can't continue under NRS 278050.
So we
But
can't do
if you
one.
want to get it to the county to do something, then you can,
Yeah,
it says
30
approval
days.
of recommendation to the White Pine County Commission. So you would be voting with some kind of recommendation to the commission.
Well, if
And
this
so
is
you would
if we
give
can do
a
it.
recommendation, whatever that recommendation would be, you would vote to give a recommendation on what the county commission should do with this petition.
Okay, if this was voted on in November, then we have November and December. So this would only be the second continuation?
Yeah, because we said 60 days. We didn't say 30 days out, so we said
Okay,
60
but
days, so this is the first.
Shane, if this is continued or tabled this time, then is that where the 30 days applies? Or does it state that in the NRS?
The NRS doesn't have the 30 days. If there's something in a specific ordinance that says that, then it would apply. But as far as the NRS, it just indicates a continuance.
Okay,
So there would be,
I'm,
So can we just do a continuance
I'm
for
not sure.
30
No.
days or a
Turn it
table
down.
for 30 days and make absolutely sure and it'll be my last resort or my last time talking about this. So they either show up and explain the situation to us and we get the engineer to really help us out here because that's his job. Or we, as far as I'm
You know,
concerned.
we need all parties representing this to be present.
Yeah.
so
And
what
the
I'm,
NRS specifically states, if the commission grants a continuance for good cause shown, the person on whose behalf the continuance was granted must make a good faith effort to resolve the issues concerning which the continuance was requested. And so they need to make an effort to resolve the questions that you have at the next hearing.
No good faith, they didn't show up.
So,
it's, and if we do a continuance, we write a letter to them telling them what our concerns are and that, so that covers, not only who, nobody was here, but also what we would like to see them
Yeah.
information, and make sure a copy of that letter goes to the county commission, just in case.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Do we have to agree on that now? Do we have to write a letter?
do you want to take this motion again, Andy, or?
Well, if that's the case, then if everybody's on board, I move that we just table this until the next go-around. Barring and we need to know the information, so let me get my ducks back in a row, sorry.
Just the width of the, I don't think it was much, just the width of the road, and more so, I think it's Brad's input on what would it look like if that 10 feet went straight down to that adjacent.
Saval all the way down to, Carson Street.
Carson Street? What would that look like, and if that would be something he
My concern is
suggests?
the other property owners.
Yeah.
If you're asking that
Yeah.
on abandonment of their properties, we don't have jurisdiction to do that.
yeah.
Actually, it would,
We're not.
doing
amending
it that way, it would be abandoned county road, not city,
Right, if
not
you
And
get
so
private
maybe
property.
maybe by suggesting that over to the county commission, I don't know if they can make that decision or not.
Right, because it's really simple, it's just that and the width of the road is the concern. So either way is fine with me, it's just how you cut it, I guess.
The picture shows a lot of trees in one area. Was that part of the abandonment before, or that's not a part of it, the abandonment?
That's the future part, right on that fence line is the future proposed property line, is what it is. So basically
Okay.
where the fence is existing right now is where the proposed boundary line is. And again, I'm speaking based off of Basin Engineering's drawings. Okay, so with that being said, can we just move on with this and table this, until we have exact details of the width of Saval Avenue?
50 feet.
50?
Look at the engineer's scale. 1 inch equals 100 feet. That road is approximately ½ inch wide, which means 50 feet.
George,
Which
we're
is
looking at a
standard.
Picture, we're looking at a PDF of that, you can't say that.
Look at the plat then.
All right, what I wanna know, and I want it spelled out, because I'm gonna make that motion, is I wanna know the width of Saval Avenue from the west fence line, or west property line to the east property line. I wanna know what the proposed, and I know what the 10-foot proposed abandonment is, but I wanna know what the impact of that will be for the road to Saval Avenue. And then I also wanna know, and I want, the owner of this property to talk to, the building inspector, and find out what is necessary from county perspective to identify what it would take to do the entire Saval Avenue, from Elko Street to Carson City Street. And I feel like that's the burden that they should take on with the county commissioners or the county. And it needs to be provided to us within whatever 30 days, the date that this next one is the next meeting is. That's what I'm doing. So that's my motion.
I second that.
Okay. All right. It's been moved and second to table this for 30 days in lieu of more information about the actual highway easement and/or the extension of the abandonment down Saval Avenue to Carson, depending upon how that impacts the neighborhood. So, we're tabling that, and all those in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
We do have, at the bottom, end of this, there's you know, where they go through and go to all the different group, offices to check to make sure this complies. The very last one says they have a concern about a jog in the road.
Right,
So we need to make sure we get an answer to that also, I think.
yeah.
What's the findings of fact? The findings of fact?
The same concern that we have.
And
So, okay. And then, so move on to, item G. Regarding building codes within the city of Ely, White County. Any comments, any input?
I haven't really discussed anything about that.
Yeah, nothing's been brought to my attention either.
Same here. Okay, so, on to approval of minutes from, Regional Planning Commission meeting held on December 16th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I didn't vote anything right off the bat either.
No spelling errors? You catch them. Yeah, that's a
Carolyn
big
catches
yay.
it, good.
Alright,
Okay.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting, and second with Leah. All those in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? It passes. Okay, now we go to public comment. You back?
Yeah, I apologize. My name's Tyrell.
Hold up.
My name's Tyrell Brown. I was asked to come here by my wife, Lexi Brown, and she was item C on the agenda. I was just a little behind, so
Oh, thanks
I
for
don't.
coming.
It's fine, thanks for coming. Just so you're aware, we did vote to approve that, and we appreciate you coming. And we're excited that she's doing this.
Yeah, yep, she's excited. She was just busy tonight, and I'll be in trouble because I was late.
Well, guess what, your secret is safe with us.
All right.
All you have to do is tell her, yes, it was
You know,
approved,
yeah.
and she'll
That's
be
it,
back.
that's the important part. Yeah, that was it, the name. You guys need anything from
No, we're
No,
good, so
thanks for
thank you,
coming.
and like we said, we're excited she's doing it, so tell her congratulations.
Okay, I'll let her know. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
have a good night.
But you did show up, and that's what's important.
I did.
Okay, more public comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if you look at the plat map, it gives you a scale. 1 inch equals 100 feet. That road is approximately 50 foot wide. That individual needed to be here. It isn't that they didn't know. Again, we have rules and regulations, or we don't. I brought before you in the past, Keith Carson, 11.5 feet from the fence line. Where does it all stop? You guys gotta set a standard here. I don't know how many times I've been up to the building inspector to get a permit to re-roof my house. It's been almost a year. You guys don't make me mad, you piss me off.
We haven't been in business that long, George. We just started. So none of the previous
Baloney.
was
The
done by
standards, you were
us.
on here for years. For years.
Yes, and not everything was done properly.
No, it hasn't.
Karen,
I come before you people, and if I don't get any answers, I'm gonna go somewhere else at a higher level. You gotta be consistent with your rules and regulations, and you're not. Mr. Chairman, I've told you in the past, and I'm bringing it up again, I've reported numerous RVs, possibly squatters, setting up throughout the city. I get 2 citations on my property. You got them sitting on a, locked in, the city, Silver State Motel. That was, June 27th. I submitted it 5 different times, I'm waiting for an answer. No business license, no permit. Here's another one at a different location, same location, October 1st. I brought out, this as of August 27th numerous times at the city council, the Old Catholic Church. Is it commercial property? Is it residential? Why are you giving me citations? Or why is the government entity charging me or my tenants? You guys gotta clean up your act, period. There's another one by the BMX. Another one, Mount Wheeler Pole Yard. Another one here on Altman. That goes back to September. Just recently, Avenue I, they got their satellite up, enjoying TV, and I'm getting heartburn coming to these doggone meetings. You folks are on the verge of malfeasance, in my opinion, and I'm gonna bring that up at the different meetings. You gotta be consistent, and you're not. You bend over backward for a person who knows that they have to be here, and yet they don't show up.
Thank you, George.
I need some answers, Mr. Chairman, and you need to get a sound system. You're in violation of the Nevada Open Meeting Law. People can't hear you. We don't know what's being said.
Any more public comments? Can we have a motion to adjourn?
second?
Do I hear a second? Okay. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Shane. This is Lori.
Okay?
Long meeting, it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and I need to.
How did that get, how did that get all cleared out?
So that needs to be put in.
Shane will be in tomorrow, he should be in, so I'll try to ask him about
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.